Michelle Myers from East of Merlot joins me now. She's a wedding planner. I like to call her a wedding expert as she's planned over 200 weddings. Now let's talk about the traditional versus the non-traditional wedding. This can be very difficult, especially when you get families involved with what they want in your wedding.
Yeah, absolutely. Weddings are changing. They used to be very much. You got married at 1 o'clock, your guests showed up for your reception at 5, you had dinner at 6, the dance was at 9, and that's how it went. And you cut your cake and you had your garter toss and all those little things. But now weddings are changing to be more customizable and unique to each bride and groom. And sometimes it's a little bit harder when, you know, even your mom has sat and pictured her daughter's day to get married for her life too, and they're not doing it quite the way that they want. So there are definitely family issues that come up at those kind of times, but you have to make it your own. If you want everyone to sit at the dinner tables and have appetizers during your ceremony while you get married, do it. That's what I say. Make it your own. There's nothing in weddings that actually say you have to do this, this, and this, right? Those things are just things that have happened and became traditions and have stuck around, which is awesome. If you want to carry that on, that's great too. If you don't, though, there's nothing saying that you have to. So make it your own in whatever way that may be.
Would you say that changing the times of weddings, and whether it be pictures before the ceremony or after, and whether there's a dinner or not, like those are things that are changing?
Yeah, absolutely. So people are definitely having later weddings. They're having like a 4 o'clock wedding and 6 o'clock supper, those kind of things. Or they're not even doing that. They're doing an evening, like later evening, 7, 8 p.m. ceremony followed by, you know, that midnight lunch and dance and more of a celebration. Everybody's got to, you know, make it their own and see what they want. A lot are doing the pre-photos. So with either, whether that's just with your bridal parties so that you don't see that groom or you don't see that bride, or they're doing it the first look photos, which are becoming super popular and I have to say are so adorable. When you get to see that groom turn around and see his bride, it's heartbreaking.
It definitely is. I've seen some tears through those.
Yeah.
Now, what about dealing with pressures from family? Because, you know, the mother of the bride or the mother of the groom, they may have a very particular plan about what they envision for their child.
Absolutely. And they raised you. Of course they do. But it does come down to what that day looks like for you. But it also comes down for who's paying for it, because if somebody else is paying for it, they're likely going to have an opinion. I think it's always great to keep an open lines of communication during wedding planning and compromise a little. It's okay. The focus of your day is spending the rest of your life with that person. It's not necessarily as much on the wedding as people make it out to be. Yeah.
Now, traditionally, I've heard that, you know, it's the father of the bride that could pay for the wedding, but what are you finding, who is really fitting the bill nowadays?
Anyone. Everyone pays for the wedding. People are getting older, like married older now, right? They're in their 30s and stuff instead. So it tends to be the bride and groom quite often, actually. So it's dependent on that. Every family is different. If one side of the family has more money than the other, then they're able to provide extra help, that kind of thing. So yeah, each wedding is very unique that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense, and I'm sure depending on, you know, how many, whether there's step parents involved or siblings, like different things like that can play a role.
Yeah, absolutely. I know how much my parents spent on my brother's wedding, and I would ask them for the same thing, right? So
definitely, that makes sense. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the set and being our wedding expert and sharing with us a bunch of different information about this upcoming wedding season as we're heading into it after engagement season. But thanks so much again for joining us, Michelle.